Hello, and welcome to another Core Brands podcast episode. Today, I have the pleasure to have in the show Michelle Lacey. Michelle is a holistic therapist, a Reiki master, Reiki practitioner, and teacher. A tuning to full potential kinesiology practitioner and let's see if I say this correctly, Ho'oponopono facilitator who is extremely passionate about helping people to find more balance in their life and reach their full potential. Michelle works with clients both in person in Dublin and online with people from all over the world. She works with clients on a one-to-one basis, and she also facilitates monthly group workshops, courses, retreats, and corporate events. Michelle's passion is helping people prioritize and take time for themselves, to go within and connect with their mind, body, and soul, and to bring more balance and harmony to all parts of themselves, their relationships, and their lives. Join me for a great and lovely conversation with Michelle, and I hope you enjoyed it. Hello, Michelle, and welcome to the Core Brands podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here today with me for this conversation. How are you today?
Hi, Roberta. I'm so delighted and excited to be here. And congratulations on the podcast. It's so exciting. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Michelle, so before we start more kind of like in the proper conversation, I always start the talk with a funny question, kind of like an icebreaker question. And for you, and I would love to know, what's the one thing about you that might surprise people? You know, that's kind of like quirky hobby, a hidden talent. What do you have to tell us?
The hidden talents, probably not so much, but so I would probably say that my biggest fear in life is heights. So when I was 18, I was on a J1 with 11 of my best friends. We went over to Hawaii, and we all decided to jump out of an airplane.
Wow.
So
At 11?
well,
11, you said?
11 of us, yeah.
Oh,
Not all
and how old were you?
I was 18.
Oh, okay. For some reason I heard that you were 11. I was like, what?
So there was 11 girls, and everyone decided, okay, we're all going to go and do a skydive. And I was like, I'm terrified of heights. And everyone was doing it. And now at that age, you're like, okay, I'm just going to do it. So yeah, that's probably my biggest thing, that people are like, you jumped out of an airplane, really?
Yeah, I would not be able. Probably at 18.
Yeah, 18, like you're probably...
Yeah, fearless.
Yeah.
But I think with age, like I have so many more fears now than I had when I was younger. Like sometimes people ask me, what, wouldn't you go on this? Like I love water parks, but I just love the water, not the part of the slide or anything. I just like to be on the pool. By the pool, looking at other people going down the slides.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, I would go on all of them, like fearless, like little. Like I remember being as little as like 7, 8 years old and trying to, go in the big ones, and people would not let me in, and all of that.
Daredevil.
Yeah, Daredevil.
Yeah, so people would be pretty surprised to know, because now I can barely go near a cliff edge. Like I'm absolutely terrified of heights.
Yeah. I'm absolutely terrified of heights as well. And it's such an irrational fear. Like it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel that, and I feel like we can talk about that more in the conversation. How does our fears kind of like, where do they come from? But what I feel when I'm near a cliff, or if I'm, for example, have you been in that bridge, the Carrico rope bridge? I can't remember exactly.
Bridges.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a rope bridge. Okay. So there's nothing underneath your feet, just rope. And the fear I felt, it's like irrational. I feel like I just need to go down, need to lay down. I cannot stand. It's so weird.
Yeah. Like legs, like my legs actually start to go from under me. So yeah, that's happened to me before. I'm like, my husband, like at the start, he was like, come on, just like get over the fear kind of thing, like feel the fear and do it anyway kind of thing.
Yeah.
Heights for me, it's just the one thing that I can't seem to clear, whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay. So let's kind of like rewind a little bit about your journey. I know you were a Montessori teacher. How did you transition, and how was your journey from a Montessori teacher into, holistic therapy and to what you're currently doing at the moment?
Yeah, so it's been a journey. There's a lot to the journey, I suppose, but yeah, it all started when I was teaching in Montessori school, and I did my level 8 degree for 4 years, and then I went straight into teaching. Absolutely love working with children. I love the Montessori way of teaching and all of that. And then while I was teaching and I was, yeah, so I was in a school teaching and I was training at the same time. And my mum passed away. And grief, Roberta. So your whole life crumbles, especially when a parent passes. So yeah, it was survival mode for a good few months. But unfortunately, I started to have very physical symptoms when it came to the grief. I started to suffer. Now I had suffered a lot with my stomach since a child, and it all kind of stems back from that. But it really started to flare up after my mum passed. And yeah, basically I started to get panic attacks, and I was really quite unwell, I would say, mentally, physically, emotionally, completely drained. But again, maybe on the outside, not everyone would have seen that. So I decided, as you do when you're young, to run away from. So I was only 23 at the time. Um, and I loved teaching. It wasn't the teaching. It was I was trying to run away from the grief, essentially.
Yeah.
And what happened was when my mum passed, it brought up an old grief. So it brought up when I was 7, I lost my sister to a car accident. So it wasn't just me going through losing my mum, it was actually me going through losing my mum and my sister, because when you're 7, we talked about it, you're fearless, um, I wasn't able to process it. So it was
Yeah.
almost like everything just started to bubble up to the surface, and was impacting me, let's say, physically and emotionally. So I decided, yeah, let's run away and go traveling. And I went and I did the TEFL course, which is teaching English as a foreign language in Thailand, for 6 months, which was amazing. I got to teach Thai children, and the Thai people are just unbelievable. So that really like lifted my spirit. Alongside this, I met a guy. Actually, before I left for Ireland. So the guy is now my husband. So yeah, that's a whole other story. But he definitely helped me massively along my journey. He's been my biggest cheerleader and my biggest support system. So yeah, I get to Thailand, amazing. And then he's like, okay, why don't we do New Zealand for a year? So I was with a friend as well. So the three of us went off to New Zealand. And when I was in New Zealand, it was amazing. I was in Queenstown and we were traveling around, but I was working in a bar. So I had never worked in that kind of environment of, busy. There was late
Yeah.
nights, so there was a lot of numbing going on, a lot of drinking, a lot of going out, and essentially just completely burnt myself out. And I came home and I was absolutely depleted, exhausted. That was always the plan, to come home after the year. So I realized that running away wasn't actually going to solve my problems.
Yeah.
So I went back to teaching, which was always my, my passion, my joy. I just love helping children. I love, just their energy. So I went back teaching and I realized something needed to change. And a friend of mine got in touch with me and she said, I'm going to a Reiki course, Reiki level 1. Would you like to come? And I said, well, I've never had a Reiki session. I've no idea what Reiki is, but something just told me you need to go to that. So that was literally the doorway to so much change in my life. I trained obviously in Reiki 1, and Reiki 1 is all about self-healing. That's where the fun started. So I did a lot of self-healing all while I was working in the Montessori, and it was tough. There was a lot of old stuff resurfacing, but for the first time in my life, I was able to process emotions that were just stuck physically, in my body. I had gone to all the doctors, everything. They'd all said, look, everything's clear. And I'm like, but physically, it's, what's going on? So that's when I realized, okay, I need to go into this energy work. And that's where it all kind of, I suppose, grew and spiraled. And I started to see such shifts in myself and my environment. I was just having so much more energy. I was feeling so much better in myself. And then people in my life were like, wow, like what are you doing? Like, you look and feel so much better. And I was explaining about this, the Reiki. And then I started getting like really obsessed because when you're in this work, there's such a array of things that you can do. So I went off and did every course that you could do. And I was Montessori teaching at the time. So I did a course called the Child-Centered Method, which is holistic ways to help children with emotional and behavioral. And I was seeing a lot of that in the school. There were a lot of children coming in with emotional and behavioral issues. And that was at the age of 3, age of 4, age of 5, and they're starting
really
young now. I never saw that at the beginning. Like there was nearly 10 years when I was teaching, and I never saw that kind of, behavioral issues. So then that got me on, okay, maybe I want to go down that route and, help children. And then eventually I was kind of doing case studies, let's say, on friends and family, and they were seeing such improvements in their life. They were like, this is amazing. Like, you need to help people to do this. But I had huge, like, confidence issues. Like, I was like, no, like, it's just for me. Like, I'm happy to do it for my family. Like, this isn't going to be a thing. Like, and then I finally plucked up the courage to rent a room in a space in the Holistic Centre in Dublin. And that was in March 2020. And 2 weeks later, the centre closed down. So I think I saw 5 clients before in person. Then the whole country obviously closed down. The actual centre closed down. And that's when I had to either pivot or forget about it. So for a while I said, no, I'm going to go back to the teaching. But something just kept pulling me back to this work, especially during COVID. I could see so many people struggling emotionally, and, people were like, you can help them. Like, you can really change people's lives. So then I was like, okay, that's when I started offering distance sessions. And that's where it all kind of expanded, exploded. Like I was able to work with people in New Zealand. I was able to work with, people down the road. There were no limits as to who I could help, which in hindsight was amazing. But yeah, very long-winded way of saying that's where I got into it.
Wow, that's an incredible journey, Michelle. Like, there's so much that happened to you, like in the past, let's say, decade. And you're saying that, like, I just caught a little thing that you said about running was not the best solution at the time when you went and traveled to Thailand and New Zealand and then eventually returned home. But maybe it was needed for you to realize that it was not the best option. I always try to see things like that. This was not the best way to do things, but maybe I needed to experience that to understand.
100%. And I always say, like, awareness is a great thing. I didn't have the awareness back then to know that. But do you know what? Maybe it was a time in my life that I needed to just enjoy and kind of, block out the noise. And, you know, I never regret going over. I had the best time.
Yeah.
But, in hindsight, I'm like, you know, there's ways that I could have, maybe helped myself a little bit sooner, but that was my journey, and that's okay. I need to have, peace with that, which I 100% do. And everyone has their own time. Everyone, the healing journey is I won't say scary, but it's an uncomfortable. It can bring up a lot, but it can be so worth it. But it's just taking that first step. I think a lot of people feel, and that's where I felt, completely lost. I didn't know where to turn to. I'd been to the doctors and I was like, well, what is this? And then that's when the Reiki came into my life and I was open to it. But I know that, sometimes people don't feel open to it or people don't feel ready, and that's okay. Like, I wasn't ready then, but then I came back and I decided, okay, now something needs to change. And I think that's where it can, if you just tune into that feeling of, no, this something needs to change here, rather than thinking too much about it.
Yeah, totally agree. And do you feel like, and just touching a little bit on the grief side, because it's something that, as you know, I relate a lot, and most people would relate because it's just part of life. I do feel like, for example, when my dad passed, it was so sudden, and those months after, I was, as you said, numb and trying to process. It's a lot of change, but then I felt like I rebirth. It was like I was a new me after, and I feel like you also can win with grief, if that makes sense. And if you tap into that positive part, which sounds a bit weird to say that because it's an horrible experience, um, we can keep going, and we, like, I feel like we can be better and more aware, and better people, better persons. What do you think?
Yeah, I think grief is one of the biggest teachers in life. And you won't grieve unless you've loved. And isn't it better to have loved? And the thing about grief, there is a period, you can't get away from the period of processing or not processing. That is just part of the grief. They say there's 7 steps to it, but um I feel that, I've experienced grief from such a young age. I feel like I've had 3 different grief hats on, and that's where, like, grief can be so different for everyone. Just because grief feels like one thing for someone, it doesn't mean
Yeah.
that it's going to feel like that for the other. It completely depends on your relationship with that person. It depends on so many different variables. So yeah, for me, it took me a long time to get here, but for me, grief has been my biggest teacher and my biggest lesson, and it has taught me that life is short. Losing a sister at 7, well, first of all, that made me feel very unsafe. Only looking back now, I see that. But then losing my mom when I was 23, and then I lost my dad when I was 32. So, losing those core people in your life,
Yeah.
right? It makes you think about life a lot deeper. For me, it made me think about life a lot deeper. Why am I here? What's my purpose? How would they want me to live my life? Would they want me to see me, really sad and upset? And that's okay to go through the emotions, of course, 100%. But, I try and live a life now that they'll be proud of. So as you say, you can turn that grief into a sense of power. And the other amazing thing is that you have a team up there of people who are looking out for you. Now, it's whether you believe that or not. I suppose some people don't believe in afterlife. For me, that's been my biggest healer, is to know that they are there, that they're making sure everything's happening. And for me, I know without a doubt that they are. And this is where like different signs come in and synchronicities, and it's magic. And I say to people, you know, when you're first going through grief, you can't feel this, you can't see this because you're in the mud, you're in the thick
Yeah.
of it. But when you start to heal and you start to move forward with it, it's just a different type of relationship. If you choose to tune into that side of things, it's a different type of relationship that you'll have. And yeah, I have amazing stories about like my loved ones sending me signs and making sure that they know that I know that they're there, you know. So yeah, it can absolutely be an amazing gift. I know, as you say,
Yeah.
that sounds mad.
It sounds mad, and I tend not to talk much about it. Like I talk like with people that I'm comfortable talking about it, but I do know, as you said, that if you did not experience, a close loss, and it doesn't need to be a parent or a sibling, it can be a close loss and it's not a family member, it's different for everyone. But if you haven't felt that pain and that transformation, you can't really understand what it's like.
Yeah. A lot of people will say, like, you turn your pain into power, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because for me, I live in Dublin for many years. My dad was in Portugal, and I was only seeing him 2 or 3 times a year when I was going back home. And when he died, my coping mechanism was to think that he was still there,
Mm.
but I was not getting to see him because I was here and he was there.
Yeah,
So my grief was always worst when I went back home,
yeah, of course.
because where was he then?
Yeah,
And then I kept saying, oh, he's just busy, he's working, he'll come tomorrow.
yeah,
And yeah, it was really hard. But now I know he's with me all the time. And that gives me peace and gives me power as well, because I can chat with him all the time.
yeah, exactly. And they're there all the time, whereas before they were busy, you were busy, you know. All you have to do is try and connect with them, you know. And
Yeah.
it can be the simplest of thing. Like I think people get overwhelmed um, with, you know, how do you do that, or how all if let's say there's a listener here who's like, how can I connect a little bit more? All you have to say maybe is, can you send me a sign of feed, like whatever it might be. For me, with my mum, it was white feathers. So after she passed, there was now my again, like people will put you down, but like my siblings will be like, you know, the cushion is leaking or whatever, they'd
Yeah.
be all over the house. They'd be along my path. Like there were signs that like you couldn't dismiss. And the more that and that's kind of how I started going into this work as well. It's like, there's something else. There's a higher power here that's working for us, you know? And there's some kind of connection going on. So yeah, it was the feathers. So maybe just ask, you know, if there's something. A lot of people say robins. With my dad, it's white butterflies. So every time I see a symbol of that, I think of them and I feel, oh, okay, yeah, they're close to me. I can feel their presence. I'll give you a
Yeah.
story of when I was getting married 2 years ago. So, um, you know, my mum obviously had passed, long past by then. But I was wedding dress shopping and I was really struggling to try and find a dress. And, you know, it's the one thing that you want your mum there for, you know, to find the dress and to feel like a princess. And I'd been to probably 6 or 7 shops and I just could not find a dress. So anyway, eventually I'm walking into the shop, and before I go in, I just stopped and I just, in my head, people probably think I'm mad, but anyway, In my head, I was like,
Let them,
yeah,
let
let
them
them,
be.
exactly.
Let
In
them.
my head, I just said, okay, mom, come on, give me a sign here. I really need your help. And I'm not joking you. I walked in, opened the door, and right in front of me, I just saw this amazing feather skirt, just covered in
Wow.
feathers. And straight away, I just said, it's that one.
Oh, goosebumps.
Yeah. And I knew then she was going to be with me all day because I had feathers all over me, you know.
You look stunning. Your photos, like you looked
Like I wouldn't have
absolutely
picked a
stunning.
feather dress, but I didn't care what it looked like. All I cared was that that was her sign to me that she'd be there.
Wow.
And
Amazing.
there's magical stories like that all the time. I'm sure you have
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, my sign is seahorses.
Oh wow, very specific.
Yeah, and yeah, like it's a long story, so I'm not gonna
Yeah.
I'm not the guest, so I'm not gonna be telling my story. But yeah, it's seahorses, and it's something that you don't see very often.
Yeah,
So I'm happy with that sign because I know when I see
yeah.
it, it's for me.
That's what a lot of people would say, like, oh, you'll see robins all the time. Oh, you'll see feathers all the time. Okay, well, pick something else. And I guarantee you, if you believe in it, it will show up.
Yeah, like I remember once I was in the health store and I was looking at the beauty products and I was having a really bad day. And I was just browsing the shop and I saw on the beauty product section packaging with a seahorse on the packaging, and the name of the brand was Pai, which is father in Portuguese. So
Oh, I just got you.
like how does this happen?
Yeah,
Like, and that's a real brand. It exists.
yeah,
Like I didn't make this stuff up. Like it exists. And I was like, wow, that's for me. That's all I needed to see today. And in other instances, I remember being walking on the beach in the winter here in Dublin and thinking about my dad and just testing the universe. I was
yeah,
like, if this is real, now you give me a sign. And then I just stepped on something, like it hurt my feet, and I dig it, and it was a little green seahorse, like a toy, a kid's toy from the beach.
yeah.
And I still have it, so I keep it. I brought it with me. So yeah, loads of stories like this, and it's something that you don't really see all the time. So I'm not getting signs all the time, but I know that these are my signs.
Exactly. And the more that you say, when you see those signs and you affirm that, the more that you say, thank you for that sign, that's for me, thank you. The more that you'll tune into that, the more that you'll receive. And you can use it for loads of different things. It doesn't have to be just that loved ones are near. You can ask for signs if you want to try and make a decision, like, show me a rainbow if that's what I'm supposed to do. If there's two different, um, routes that you want to go, pick a rainbow for one, and it doesn't have to be a rainbow, whatever it is. I'm
Yeah,
picking very
yeah,
like mystical things, but so yeah, so it's a powerful thing. The universe is listening.
always. Yeah, I do believe that. Okay, so Michelle, now tell me in terms of your work at the moment. I know that you offer online and physical sessions. Um, what different types of treatments do you offer? Do you want to tell us more about that, about your business, and maybe if there's anything that you haven't started offering yet, but it's kind of like on the pipeline?
um so yeah, I offer I do obviously online, because since COVID, that's almost where I pretty much started, which is amazing. So as I said, I can work with people all over the world. And online, they can be a little bit skeptical, like, how would energy work? But I promise you it works. It's a bit like, how is the Wi-Fi working? How are we able to talk to each other? There's a flow of energy there. So yeah,
Oh,
so I
sorry. It's funny that you say that because I posted that yesterday on my stories.
did you?
Exactly that. Yeah, I did. Such a coincidence. I saw a post, I don't remember from whom, And I reposted on my story saying that people don't believe in energy, but they do believe in Wi-Fi. It's the same,
Oh, I can see
concept.
that.
It's invisible waves of frequency.
Exactly. It's
Amazing. Sorry, I
intention.
didn't want to interrupt you.
I wish I had seen that, because now I feel like I'm robbing your
No, no, no. It's just amazing, amazing
um,
coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence, but it's amazing.
synchronicities.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it is. It's intention, and it's the power of intention. So yeah, you can, if you're working with me online, you can book in. There's maybe 4 different options, one to one, how we can work together. The most popular is probably the intuitive energy healing. So I call it intuitive energy healing because I kind of mentioned I got obsessed with courses and learning in this space. So what I like to do is meet the person and, see what's going on for them, different things that are coming up. And then it's like I have this little toolbox and I'm like, okay, that will work, this will work, and then I kind of, make it very bespoke to the person, and what will work for them, and obviously talk it out with them and what feels right. So yeah, that's the intuitive energy. So we'll start basically with the meditation just to calm you. And then essentially I get people to just lie down and receive the energy. A lot of people say the time flies, first of all.
Yeah.
And they also
I
say,
can say that.
yeah,
I've experienced it.
like what? No, that surely the time is,
Yeah.
which is a good sign. So yeah, it's essentially just channeling healing to help your nervous system to slow down, to help all of your, systems, whether it's your immune system, just to reset, because life is so busy. It's a chance for you to just take some time to really reset. Um, and then I offer different sessions like Ho'oponopono, which is all around forgiveness. So I came across that when I was doing a lot of inner child healing. So as I mentioned, my sister passed when I was 7. So there's a whole phase in my life where I had to go back and kind of heal. And that really helped me. So there's a little poem, let's say. Some people call it a prayer, some people call it a poem. And it says, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And it's just 4 simple lines, but it really just speaks to your soul. It speaks to, that inner child within, who needed, that healing, who needed that support, whatever it was. Um, so yeah, that's that. I'm trying to think of all the things that I offer.
Tell me, tell me about the workshops.
Okay, yeah. So the workshops are amazing because it's when groups come together, it's like the energy is amplified. I love working with groups. Everyone is just amazing that comes to my workshops. For whatever reason, I seem to attract really lovely people, and they all just learn from each other and connect with each other. So again, I do online and in person. So the online ones are mainly full moon workshops where we'll do some meditating, some journaling, some healing, and just time to reflect. And the full moon is all about connecting with that divine feminine. And you might notice if you're sensitive, if you're a sensitive soul, your emotions will be heightened during the full moon. So I love the full moon events. Then the new moon is all about planting seeds, seeds of intention, how you want your life to be, like some people call it goal setting, whatever it might be. So I love the new moon ones. There's loads of different, sorry. At the moment, I'm doing a Mindful Monday, 6 weeks to inner peace with a gorgeous group of 10 women. We all come together every Monday evening, and each week is a different topic. We talk about manifestation, we talk about healing, we talk about inner child. Like there's loads of different topics. And That's the Mindful Monday. And then I think you're referring to my in-person vision board workshop, are you?
Yeah.
um, yeah, that is definitely a favorite for people.
So powerful.
Yeah. I absolutely love those vision board workshops. So for people who don't know vision boards, I suppose, um, I'll go back to my story maybe of my first vision board workshop. It was one of the first workshops. You know, you sign up to these things and you're like, I've no idea why I'm here. But I ended up in this random workshop and I went and, you know, it was all about doing this vision board. So a vision board is a physical representation. I like to do physical. You can do them online or on your phone as well. So it will have, you know, everything that you want in your life, you'll put on this board. So I break it down into, you know, different areas of your life. It might be career, it might be family, it might be connection with yourself, it might be finances. So yeah, anyway, I end up in this workshop and I'm sticking down thinking like, wow, this is amazing. Love this. And you can put like little quotes and things to uplift you. And the idea is you look at this vision board every day, and what happens is subconsciously you're training your mind to think, to focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. So again, I'm huge into the law of attraction. And the law of attraction talks about, you know, what you focus on expands. So if you're focusing on stress, you know, worry, anxiety, you're going to get more of that. If you're focusing on, you know, gratitude, on abundance, on things that are working for you, you're going to get more of that. And look, you can't be, you know, growth mindset all the time. There's going to be contrasting moments in life. But what they do is they teach you of the things that you do want. So if you know what you don't want, you're going to know what you do want. So yeah, so the vision board workshops. I remember I put on a number. So what I say to my clients, it's all about when you're putting stuff on your vision board, it's all about the feeling that it gives you. Like if it feels good, if it feels attainable, put it on the board. If it feels like, oh, that doesn't feel good, or how is that going to work for me? You know, don't put it on the board. So I put down, the lady said, okay, you have to put some kind of financial, you know, something on the board. So my favorite number is 7. So I decided to do 77777. One of my friends, who's very logical, said, why didn't you put 99999? And I was like, well, I just like the number 7. So anyway, long story short, I was Montessori teaching at the time. I get called into my manager's office and she says, you know, the way that you did the level 8 degree in the Montessori teaching, this was years before. And I said, yeah. She said, the government had just rang us and said that there's one-off payments being handed out to people who did that course. And I went, okay. This was 2 weeks after the vision board workshop. And it didn't click with me at the time. But anyway, she gives me the check and it's for €750.
Oh, wow.
Now, it wasn't 777, but
It's 7.
we'll take it. But like, what are the chances that the government are just going to randomly?
I know.
So for me, it wasn't until I got home, I think that night, or maybe I was looking at the board and I was like, the universe literally just sent me €750 out of nowhere. And it really opened me up to anything is possible. Once we focus our attention, once we believe, you know, and get out of our heads as to, but how is that going to happen? Like, where am I going to get that money? Like in my head, I would have said I would have had to get a raise for that. You know, my bosses would have had to give me that money. But no, it was actually the government decided to give me that money.
Who would knew?
You know, and I have so many stories of all of that. So yeah, I decided then, I was like, these are powerful. And I decided to offer it to my clients in workshops, group workshops, and it's unbelievable. Like the energy in the workshops, the connections, and then obviously ultimately things that come out of it. So
Yeah.
will I give the example of your experience?
Yeah, you can.
Or do you want to give the example of your experience?
Yeah, this podcast is a baby of the workshop, let's say. Because I put on, so I did the workshop with Michelle last November, so a little bit over a year ago. And one of the things that I put on my vision board was a photo of myself, like a fake photo with kind of like on a setting of a podcast. So I really wanted to be a podcast guest. But I never crossed my mind that I would have my own podcast. I knew I wanted to be invited to podcasts. I pitched myself to be on podcasts. Never happened, maybe for a reason.
Yeah.
I truly believe that. But then here I am now. I launched my podcasts on my birthday on the 27th of November, which was around the same time that I was on your workshop last year.
Oh wow.
And
Oh, I just
I I'm actually just thinking about this right now. So it was exactly 1 year after. And I think that's pretty amazing.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
it
would
was your
say,
birthday at the
yeah,
workshop. Wow.
yeah. And it was not planned to happen like that. And I would say to people is that, and I'm no expert whatsoever, I can only speak from my experience, is that when you put things on your vision board, just keep your mind open,
Yeah.
because whatever you're putting there, it might not be exactly
Yeah.
happening or kind of like resolving in the way that you hope. Maybe it's going to be even a better way, a different way it's best for you. So in this case, I did not be invited to any podcasts, but I launched my own.
Wow. Like I just love that. As soon as I saw that you were, because I knew it was on your vision board,
Yeah.
and as soon as I saw that you were I was like, that was on your vision board. Because I always see like when clients, let's say, that have been to the workshops and they put up certain things, I'm like, that was on your vision board. And I think some people forget. They're like, oh my God, yeah, it was, you know. But again, like, and you were open to it. You said, okay, you know, let's see where this goes. You weren't like, oh no, I'm not meant to be on podcasts. You pushed through that and you're like, okay, let's see what happens. And then you decided, I'm going to do that for myself. Like, how empowering. That is so empowering. I just love that story. And there's so many of
Yeah.
those types of stories from clients, you know?
Yeah. And the thing is that I did not forget, because I have my vision board
Yeah.
just here. So I look at it every single day. And there's many things that already came to life. Like I was nominated for Business Women of the Year award. That was on my vision board. I went to Adobe
Yeah.
Max. So I put Adobe Max LA because I was hoping to go to the Los Angeles one,
Yeah.
but very luckily they made one in London. And when I saw the London one, I was like, wow, I'm going to go to this one, because, you know, it was much more financially viable for me to do. So yes, I'm so excited to see the rest of it.
And again, as you say, you know, it might not show up in the exact way, but it might actually be so much better.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. It's just we have to keep our mind open, our heart open,
Exactly.
and yeah, keep focusing on the good energy, and things will resolve.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, we're getting closer to the end of our conversation. It feels like it's flying. It's like your sessions. It flies when you're having fun. Um, do you want to tell me what's next for Michelle Lacey Energy? Any new plans for 2025? What's on the plan?
What's happening? So I have some really exciting new things coming up that I have not yet launched. But maybe I'll share here. So I'm coming up with a one-to-one program for people to work with me for 3 months in block. So it will really give you that in-depth support, and we'll really go on a gorgeous journey, a deep journey, but a gorgeous journey. And it's going to be implementing all of the different learnings, all of the different modalities, and really just get you to a place of connecting with yourself more and connecting with your wants and your desires. So I'm really excited about that. So I'm going to be launching that really soon. The plan was to only launch it to my Mindful Mondays group, but let's see what happens. And yeah, so what's the other thing? I would really love to do more workshops. I'm scheming at the moment to do a retreat.
Yes, I was hoping to hear that.
So yeah, I'm working on that at the moment, an overnight retreat to really immerse everyone in a gorgeous
Oh, that would be lovely.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of going on retreats, and I know the power of them. So a lot of people have asked me, so I really need to pluck up the courage and just do it.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to hear more about the retreat. I haven't been in any retreats, but whenever I see you sharing yours, I'm like, oh my God, that looks so lovely.
Yeah.
I need to book something like that for me.
I know.
So yeah, I would definitely keep my eyes out for the retreat announcement.
Yeah.
And then lastly, where well, before I'm going to ask you where people can find you, do you want to share with us a mantra or something inspiring for people to keep their minds on, like for the rest of the day?
Yeah, a mantra, I would say it all starts with you. Everything is a reflection around you, is coming from you. So I know people hear this all the time, but fill up your own cup first, because you cannot support other people. You cannot be your best self if you are giving, 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 giving. Like I was in that energy for so long. And I love to give. I love to support people, all of that. But it left me completely depleted. And I know so many of my clients are givers and want to help. So yeah, I would just say, make sure you're spending time for yourself on, what lights you up, what maybe makes you feel more grounded, just yeah, spending time for you is really important.
Love that. Okay, Michelle, thank you so much. Where can people find more about you? Share with us.
Yeah, so my website is www.michellelacey.energy. I always feel like an advert when I say that. And my Instagram is michellelacey.energy. So yeah, they're the two kind of main places. And my email then is on it's also Michelle Lacey, or michelle@michellelacey.energy.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Michelle. It was such a pleasure to chat with you and to learn more about you. And yeah, thank you so much. And I hope you have a beautiful day.
Thank you. You too. And well done again on this amazing new podcast.
Thank you so much. It means a lot. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
And that's it for today's episode. Thank you for listening, and remember, every brand journey starts with a single step. You can find the episode details in the description, and if you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a review, share with your friends, and follow Core Brands Podcast to be notified of new episodes. Until next time, stay inspired and keep creating.